Hello family and friends and fellow YouTubers, it's Kim here from Kim's Country Corner, and this weekend I am out at the Hancock Homestead because I am getting ready to make my grandson's birthday cake. I'm lucky in the fact that Karen allows me to help out with the kids' birthdays, and for Jeffrey's birthday I'm going to be making a cake. Actually, I'm going to be making cupcakes and then putting those cupcakes together into a design. It's kind of a form of art called Pointillism, where you use dots put together to form your art piece. And so that's what I'll be using to do this cake, is cupcakes put together into the design. I did it last year when I made his tractor, and I'm going to do it this year when I make his dragon. When I was a younger mother and my kids were younger, I used to decorate their birthday cakes all the time. And back then I would use a cake pan, and then I would use my special star points, my cake points, to design the cake, kind of like painting on a cake canvas. However, ever since the COVID-19 has hit us, it's been a popular trend to have individualized servings of things. And one of those is individualized cupcakes, so that they can, you know, have a little bit more safety when it comes to eating the food. Anyway, regardless of whether it's for COVID or whether it's just for fun, we're going to be doing cupcakes again this year. And I will have to admit that although I used to love decorating the cakes with the star points, the star tips, these designs using cupcakes are really a lot of fun to do. So if you have not done cupcake designs yet, I suggest you look into it, because they are a lot of fun. You know, cupcakes have become very popular in the recent years with cupcake bakeries where they decorate. That's all they concentrate on, are decorating cupcakes. And now people have ventured into making whole cakes that are made out of cupcakes, and they're a lot of fun. So if you haven't tried to do it yet, just Google cupcake designs, whatever you want to do. Last year I Googled tractor design and a design popped up. This year I Googled dragon and a dragon popped up. So there's lots of designs out there on the internet that you can copy from. So in order to do my cupcake cake, the first thing I have to have, of course, are cupcakes. And that's what I'm going to be making right now. And I'm going to be doing two different designs. I'm going to do a dragon design and then a castle design. And the reason I'm doing two cakes is because we need at least 48 cupcakes. And so I'm going to be using 24 cupcakes for one design and 24 cupcakes for the other design. And the dragon design, I'm going to be using chocolate cake with red icing, and I am so happy because Wilton has now started making colored icing. And so now you can buy red, blue, they even have a green out now, and where before you used to have to mix them yourself. And red for me was always one of the hardest colors to mix. It seemed like it didn't matter how much red dye I would add to the white Wilton icing, I would always end up with kind of a pinkish red, and I could never get a true red. And or let me put it this way, I would have to spend hours trying to get a true red. And now that Wilton has come out with the pre-made colored icings, it makes my job a whole lot easier. So anyway, the dragon is going to be made out of red with chocolate cake, and The castle is going to be made out of funfetti cake with blue Wilton icing. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by mixing the cakes, and I'm just going to be following the directions on the back of the box. All right, now let's see what's next. This one will need 14 to 19 minutes of baking time at 350. So 350 for that one, about 15 minutes. And then 350 for this one, about 19 minutes. So, of course, I'll be testing them as we go. All right, let me get this cleaned up and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so now I'm ready to move on to the next step. Real quick, I just noticed my background sounds include my air conditioning because it is hot today. And sometimes when I'm videotaping, I will turn it off for the sake of sound, but it's just too hot to do that today. So I am leaving it on. And then second of all, I have the dishwasher running, so that again will be a background sound that you might hear. Alright, so I have chosen to buy the Wilton cupcake liners because I like the darker colors for my designs. So let me get into there. Take these out and get down to my darker colors. Cupcake pans. When you're doing a cupcake design, it is a good idea to use the same color liner, of course, for consistency of the look. And then I like the darker ones. But I would say as long as they're the same color, that's what's going to count more importantly than anything else. So. One box of cake mix makes 24 cupcakes. And that's what I need for each design. So I'm doing my 2 boxes of cake mix. I will probably do an extra box too because sometimes the cupcakes don't always come out exactly even, and the more even they are, the better they are. So a lot of times I'll do an extra box to be able to pick out the more uniformly baked cupcakes, and then the extras John and I just munch away on. So, all right, well, we're going to go ahead and start with the 1 box first. All right, another suggestion I have is that the Wilton Company has out these little cupcake scoopers. And this one is for when you're doing regular cupcakes, and this one is for your mini cupcakes. And I do recommend these because they do give you a more uniformed cupcake. However, I've also found that using the 1/4 cup, but not filling it all the way, also works. So the most important thing is that they're uniformly shaped for your design. So I'm going to be using the regular cupcake, okay? I'm going to try to get these as evenly filled as possible. Okay, so I'm going to turn you guys off for just a few minutes while I do this, because this is somewhat time consuming. It's not hard, it takes time, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, so I'm down to my last 3 cupcakes here on the chocolate, and I wanted to show you that after I get my mixture into my cupcake measure, I tap it on the edge to kind of make sure it's even on the top for consistency, and then I pour that in. So yeah, the tapping helps. And I will tell you that I do believe Wilton had these measured pretty exact, because I am down to my last one and I think I have just enough batter to do it. So these little cupcake measuring scoopers really do help to do the job. See, last one. And last cupcake, and the bowl is empty. So, alright, now I need to pop these in the oven. Okay friends, so I do have my 2 pans of the chocolate cupcakes ready to go into the oven. They need to go in at 350 degrees, so my oven, it has been preheating while I was doing this, so it's ready. And so at 350 degrees for 15 to 19 minutes. Alright. And I did adjust my rack so that it was in the middle of the oven. Whenever you're doing cupcakes, it's best to do them in the middle of the oven if possible. Here. The pans aren't hot, but the oven is. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to set my timer for the lowest amount, and I will build from that. If they need more time, then I can go up. We're going to start at the lowest. Okay, so the first batch of 24 cupcakes just went into the oven, and now I'm going to move on to the next batch of 24. So let me get this out of my way. Chocolate wiped up. There we go. And now we are ready to move on. All right. Now we're going to do the funfetti. Once again, I'm going to use the darker cupcake liner. Okay friends, so that's the timer for the first batch. I'm going to take one tray out. See how nice and uniform they look? And then I'm going to give them a test though. You can do this with a toothpick, but I usually just use a fork. And I pick a middle cupcake and I put my fork in all the way to the bottom, and if it comes out clean, which that did, then that means that your cupcakes are finished. If it comes out with cake on it, then that means it needs just a few more minutes. So these are finished. I'll check this batch too, although I'm pretty sure they're going to be finished as well. Whoops, I lost a cupcake in there. finished as well. All right, so let me get the next batch in. Another batch of funfetti on the middle shelf. These once again are at 350 degrees, but these say they need a little bit more time. However, I'm still going to start at 15 minutes and build up. Okay, friends, so while I'm waiting for the cupcakes to cool and the second batch to bake, I'm going to start working on a couple of posters as decoration for Jeffrey's birthday party. Now, the posters are not necessary. They're just something that I like to do. When my kids were younger, I used to make posters for their birthday parties. Whatever the theme was, I would try to make a poster to go along with it. And since Karen asked me to participate in the kids' birthdays, I like to make posters for them as well. It's just kind of a creative outlet for me. And so what I'm going to work on now is a dragon poster that has some painting with it, because Jeffrey's birthday party is a paint party. They're going to have painting involved as their activity, their main activity. So it's an arts and craft paint party. But he also wanted a dragon cake. So I'm going to try to incorporate a dragon along with an arts and craft theme. So not 100% sure what I'm going to end up with at this time. I have a couple of ideas in my head. But I've always been really good at looking at a picture and being able to copy it. And so I found a really cute dragon that I like online here. And I'm going to see if I can reproduce it for my poster. So I have my art pencil out. I have stencils because I will probably put happy birthday in there somewhere. And I like to use stencils for that. And then I have all kinds of Sharpie markers here. But you have to get it drawn first. So I think I'm going to start out with a large dragon for my first poster. So here I go. Now I will be making a lot of trials and error. So I want to do this very lightly so that if I want to readjust body portions, I can do that. So you probably won't see me actually drawing, but I'm just doing it very, very lightly. So, all right. So I'll show you kind of what I have so far. It's very lightly drawn. Okay, and I've made some basic adjustments to it. So now what I'm going to do is I will outline everything in black. I just think that gives it a nice finishing touch. Alright, so there I am outlining it in black, and then I will go back and color it in with a marker. But my cupcakes are finished, so I need to go get them out first. Okay friends, so after I got the cupcakes out of the oven and I have them in there cooling, I came back in and started working on the poster and forgot to turn you guys back on. But using the colors red, black, blue, purple, orange, and some brown, I finished the poster. And as you can see, it is a dragon who is enjoying painting. And I used red for the dragon. I had recently just got Jeffrey a dragon that kind of looked like this one, so I thought that was kind of neat. Anyway, he has the red dragon, and the red dragon is holding a paintbrush with blue paint. He couldn't decide whether he wanted blue or green. He chose blue, and he painted his name Jeffrey. So I thought that this would go along well with the paint party that has a small dragon theme with it. So there we go, the dragon's painting, and here's his paint can, and he's sloshed some paint around. He paints like me. He makes a mess when he paints. Anyhow, I'm sure that Jeffrey's going to have a good time at his paint party, and I'm sure Mr. Dragon will too. Alright, so now I'm going to work on the next poster, and it's basically going to say happy birthday Jeffrey. I'm going to include a dragon on it with some art materials, and we'll see what I end up with. Alright, so I will be back. So before I move on to the next poster, I thought I would share that this dragon came off of a Pinterest board that had it as part of a game. And they had drawn a large dragon like this, and then they had made a fire separate. And they did pin the fire on the dragon. Instead of pin the tail on the donkey, they had the game pin the fire on the dragon. And then the children would try to get the fire as close to the mouth as possible. So I thought that was really a cute game. However, Karen's party for Jeffrey is going to include an activity of painting and arts and craft. So they have other activities that they're going to be doing. But if you're looking for a really cute activity, I think pin the fire on the dragon is a cute idea. Alright, so now on to the next poster. And I wanted to say happy birthday, so happy birthday Jeffrey. So I need 3 lines, and I want my lines to be the same width apart. So I'm going to use my ruler to make my 3 lines. And I make little marks so that I can keep the lines even. Okay. Once again, I'm going to do this very lightly. When you're trying to do a straight line, you have to have 2 guide marks. Alright, so now I have my 3 lines. I'm going to get out my stencils for a happy birthday Jeffrey. And then I will be back. Alright, so the first thing I like to do is I have to figure out where my middle point is, and since this is 28 inches long, my middle point is going to be 14 inches. And happy has 5 letters, so I'm going to want my, and then I'm adding the number 7, so that's 6. 6 on the top, so I need for the P to be at the center. I need for the P to be at 14. I remember learning this in typing class. Back when we used to have the old typewriters, you had to learn how to center things using your brain. Now the computers just do it for you. Okay, so where's the P? Oh, I forgot to get out the P. All right. So the P needs to go at the number 14. And there's the 14, so I'm going to Put that P right over the center of it, and I'm going to do it first. I have it sitting right there on the line. All right, now working off of that center point, I need another P. When you're doing stenciling, these holes down here at the bottom is so that you can make a little mark, and then you know where to put your next letter. So I'm going to put a mark in each of those, because on this side I need another P. Okay friends, so after a little bit of work, I got the second poster finished, and here's how it turned out. As you can see, I did the stenciling, and I decided to offset the lettering just a little bit because I wanted to add some paint design over here. So there's a large paintbrush, can of paint down there in the corner, and then the little dragon to match his mommy that says, "Let's paint." So once again, I think I did a pretty good job incorporating both the dragon and the paint theme. So hopefully Jeffrey's going to have a really good time at his paint party, and so will his dragons. All right, now what I have left to do is to ice the cupcakes, but they are still cooling, and so I'm going to go take a break. All right, I will be back to show you how I decorate those cupcakes. Talk to y'all in a bit. Bye for now. Okay friends, so my 2 batches of cupcakes have now cooled, and it's time to start icing them. And to ice them, I'm going to be putting the icing in these Wilton bags. And I'm going to be using Cupcake decorator tips. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my tip down in there. You can buy couplers. I'm not going to use them tonight because I just couldn't find any big enough for the cupcake tips. Okay, so after I get my cupcake tip pushed as far down into the bag as I can get it, then I just merely snip the end off so that the icing will have room to come out. Okay. And the first ones I'm going to do are the red icing, the chocolate cakes. So I'm going to set these aside there because it's still kind of warm. Like I said, now that Wilton makes these pre-colored icings, it doesn't take near the time it used to decorate cakes. Okay, and then I will just spoon the icing down into my plastic bag here. I did put these icings in the ice box for a few minutes to kind of chill them. Now, I always make a mess doing this. Alright, so after I get it down in there, I kind of use my hands to push it on down towards the tip. And you can put a rubber band or something around the top if you want. I don't. I normally don't. I just push it down in there. And then you want to do what's called burping the bag. You want to make sure there's no air. So your first dab you're going to do like that, and I didn't hear any air. I'm going to zoom you guys in so you can watch me do this. Let's put these back just a little bit. Kind of leave a little bit of space between each one if I can. Alright, so what I do is, starting at the edge, I put my first dab, and then I just come all the way around the cupcake in a swirl, And then I just keep layering, trying to squeeze the bag as consistently as possible. And then when I get to the top, I give it a little point. Okay? So when I do that again, I'm going to burp my bag. Make sure there's no air. Starting on the very edge. Make that swirl going all the way around. And then when I meet up, I'm going to start around again. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I cover up the whole cupcake. And then at the end, I just give it a little tip. Alright, so now I just need to do all 24 of these cakes. 24 of these cupcakes, and I will be back. Okay, so something I want to mention at this point is that when you are using a cupcake tip instead of a spatula, you're going to use twice as much icing. So where normally 24 cupcakes would use 1 tub of the icing, because I'm using a cupcake tip, I'm going to have to open another can, which I have already done, and use it for the last 12. So just be aware that if you're using a cupcake tip, you're going to need twice as much icing. So I have the first 12 in the ice box kind of setting, and now I'm going to finish up these 12. Whoops. Okay friends, so I wanted to show you that I now have 24 of the red iced, and my icing really started getting soft because it's just so warm today, and even with the air conditioning running, it was still hot in this house. So the cooler you can keep it in the house, the more firm your icing will stay. However, I think it's still going to work out okay. And I'm going to go ahead and put these back in the ice box so that they will be chilled. And then I'm going to work on icing the blue. Anyway, so now I'm moving on to the blue. And it's going to be the same thing. I've got my bag, my plastic bag, cake icing bag here with the cupcake tip forced into the bottom. Cut the tip off. And now I'm going to fill it up with this blue icing. It has been in the ice box, chilling. I've had John turn the air conditioning up even more to try to keep this from melting this evening. Okay friends, so I got the 24 cupcakes iced blue that I'm going to need to put together the other design, the castle. So they're iced and ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the red and blue cupcakes in cupcake containers, probably have them in the ice box overnight, and then tomorrow I will put them together to make the design. It's kind of late tonight and I'm really tired, and it's easier to store them as is, and then tomorrow I will have time before the party to put them together into the design. And then I will be sure and show you that as I'm doing it. But for now, I'm going to go and I'll see you in a bit. Alright. Okay friends, so I am back today. Today is actual party day, and I'm going to get ready to put the cakes together now to form the design. But I wanted to share something with you real quick. The first thing is that because the cake is going to be a little bit on the larger side, I have had to reform the cake boxes to hold it. A normal cake box like this, which includes the bottom and the top when it's adjusted, will hold one of these cake boards. Okay, so this cake box would hold one of these cake boards. However, because I'm making an extra larger cake, I've had to reform the cake box, and what I do is I buy 2 cake boxes, and then I use one as my bottom and then one as the lid. Now, you won't be able to travel super far with this format, but it will get me from here to there. So, in order to do this, I'm able to get 2 and then a half of one of these into this box. Now, what I've done is I've taken the cake boxes and using shipping tape, I have taped them together. And then I use a bracer. Since I had to cut this one off a little bit, I just took the piece that I had cut off from it and used it as a brace for the main part, this middle part. And then it goes into the box like that. And it gives me a nice canvas to work on. Now, you can cover these in aluminum foil, but you don't have to, okay? They're perfectly fine the way they are. All right, so now I'm going to bring the cupcakes in, and I'm going to actually be putting the design together in here because I have more room. So let me get the cupcakes and we'll get started. Okay, so using the design that I found online, I will start laying out the cupcakes into its form. And then at the end is when I will go back and put in the finishing touches. I may revamp this just a little bit to kind of go along with the idea that I have in my own head, but this gives me a good start. Okay, friends, so I iced a few more red ones to complete the design, which I think made it look better. And so now I'm going to add some finishing touches. And one of the things that it needed were eyes. Now, you can buy the candied eyes, but they're kind of expensive. And I already had these googly eyes from a different project. I had a whole bag of these. So I'm going to use these with the understanding that we will remove them before serving, okay? And so I had to make a couple of icing swirls here to hold them in place. So I'm going to go ahead and put the eyes on. I think I'll bring you guys in for a closer look. So hang on a second. There we go. Now you can see the googly eyes better. Okay, and then for its scales, I'm going to use this yellow. Okay, and I'm going to start it back here behind the eyes, and I'm just going to give a dab of yellow to each of these cupcakes to kind of make it look like it has a scale. And then these just continue down the back and through the tail. All right, let's see. Kind of want them all the same size, and I kept getting a little bit bigger, so I'm going to add just a little bit more to this one. There we go. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, and then it needs some claws. Okay. So I'm going to give it some claws on the end of each of its little paws here. Okay. Turn that window off and see that. There we go. Okay, and then to make it look like an official dragon, I think it needs some wings. So I'm going to use some black foam, and I fold it in half, and I'm going to make it a pair of wings. And I'm just going to hopefully free cut this. In my brain, I have an image of what I think the wings should look like. So I'm going to hope that I can cut it to look like my wings that I have in my head. Yeah, I think those look like dragon wings. And then I'm going to simply find the middle of its back, and I'm going to lay that on there, like so. There. And once again, we'll just remove that final touch when we get ready to serve it. Okay, so does that look like a dragon? And I wanted to go back and add a snout here for him. And you can put little white teeth coming out, but I'm not going to make him have teeth. He's a friendly dragon. But I did want to add the little dots for his snout. All right, now I think he's complete. So does he look like a dragon to you guys? The nice thing about dragons is that they are fictional, which means they're fake. You know, they're not real. And we don't really know what they would look like, but you know, I think this is a pretty good representation. So I hope Jeffrey will like his dragon cake. All right, let's move on to the castle. Okay, so I thought I would let you know that I used 30 cupcakes for the dragon. That's how many I counted, that's how many I used. So should you decide to do this design, you will need 30 cupcakes. All right. So I'm glad I made that extra box. Remember I told you guys I always make an extra box just in case. All right, so now we're going to do the castle, which is basically just building blocks. Okay, it looks like I'm going to need 8 as my foundation. So I'm going to start here in the middle so I know where the middle's at. Build it off a bit. Alright, I don't know if you can see that, but that's supposed to be my castle. And I just need to add some touches to it. Okay friends, well I got both of the cakes finished for Jeffrey's party. I have the castle, okay, I have his dragon over here. I think they both turned out pretty good for being cupcake cakes. This type of art is called Pointillism. It's dot art and it's a lot of fun to do. So if you haven't tried cupcake designs yet, I say give it a try. It's super easy. And it's a lot of fun. So this is going to be it for this video. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to know more about what's going on in my corner of the world, hit that subscribe button to Kim's Country Corner. And I will talk to you all later. Bye for now. And happy birthday, Jeffrey. Happy 7th birthday. We love you.